This week we're exploring Burnaby. Often confused with a suburb of Vancouver, Burnaby is its own vibrant, bustling city, and there's tons of cool stuff to see here. And here's a fun fact, Burnaby is where I spent the first 5 years of my life. Let's go see what's new in Burnaby. Burnaby is one of several cities that make up the Greater Vancouver area and is the seat of Metro Vancouver's regional government. Home to BC's largest mall, downtown Burnaby is ultra-modern and booming. New buildings are racing upwards all around, and it truly feels like the heart of a forward-looking 21st century city. But away from the bustle of Metro Town, there are still quieter suburbs and green spaces, like the Burnaby Mountain Conservation Area, home to Simon Fraser University. Burnaby is the third largest city in British Columbia and was first incorporated in 1892. You can get a taste of old Burnaby at the wonderful Burnaby Village Museum. You can stroll down the streets of a 1920s village and visit period shops and other businesses. Best of all, admission is free. The museum is great, but a visit to the Heights in northern Burnaby takes you to a real neighborhood, which has kept much of its traditional feel. It's home to family businesses that have been here for many years, including my first stop, Chioffi's Meat Market, to meet with owner Reno Chioffi. Your store or stores have been here for a long time.
30 years, over 30.
Tell us what your stores mean or represent in this community.
Well, I think the stores represent local food, local products with the a little bit of the Italian flair.
You're well known and very highly regarded for your sausages.
Yes.
And your commitment to local meat.
Yes, we use all local pork suppliers, beef suppliers.
So, do you get out and actually meet? Do you know the farmers? Do you know the people that raise the meat that comes into your shops?
We go out and we go and meet them.
And what is it that makes that local product better?
Hormone-free, antibiotic-free, the way they're raised,
Right.
you know? There's a story behind it.
Okay.
I want to feed my customers what I would feed my own kids.
Right.
It's good product, no hormones, no antibiotics again. I'll give you an example, like the sausages we make.
Yeah.
There's 3 ingredients.
Right.
Meat, salt, pepper. You know, or spicy or meat, salt, paprika, cayenne.
Right.
Like, simple. There's no preservatives that, it lasts 2-3 days. I'm the kind of person that I've always believed in. And someone says, oh, your sausages don't have enough spice. I said, well, you're supposed to taste the meat. It's meat. It's not the spice. You want to taste spice, just throw it on you can throw it on yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They may be famous for their sausages, but they also sell quite a variety of meats.
Well, we do a little bit of rabbits,
Okay.
we do a little bit of quail, we do a little bit of pheasants.
Right.
We do some wild boar. I mean, it's just...
So wild boar.
We do, I don't know, probably 200-300 racks a week.
Wow.
Wild boar racks.
How much is that?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, it's time to make some of these famous sausages.
So I'm going to use a hog casing.
Okay.
So
And of course, casting is the cleaned intestine.
cleaned intestine,
Yeah.
yes. I'm all about natural, right? I try to be as local, as natural as possible, right?
So you say you've been doing this for 30 years. You've been making sausages for 30 years.
Yeah.
Look at how perfectly smooth, even, and uniform that casing is being filled. So you say this is your mild Italian. What are some of your other flavors? What's your most popular flavor?
I would say our simple mild sauce is probably our best seller.
Right.
A spicy Italian. We do a chorizo. We do a bison and mushroom. We do a wild boar and mushroom. We do a rabbit and an apricot.
And I heard a little rumor.
Yeah.
You're quite well known for your rabbit sausages.
Yeah. It was rated one of the top 10 best things to eat in Vancouver.
And there was a little addendum to that. Before you die?
Before you die.
So
That's
one of the top 10 things to eat before you die. That's pretty high praise.
There you go.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then we're gonna link them up.
We're gonna link them up. Usually one twist. You try not to fill them up too much.
Yep.
So that you can do the twist without breaking the casing.
I think I might be able to do this. So Reno, lets me try. Well, I feel quite good that
There you go. You did a great
they're actually
job.
working, quite well.
Good job. You're hired. And then every...
Oh, no,
you broke it. There you go.
I'm fired. I'm fired. Reno, this has been fantastic.
Awesome.
We're gonna go out and we're gonna buy some. I've got to have some rabbit sausages because I might die soon. So
There you go.
thank you so
Pleasure.
much.
Thank you.
Unofficially known as Koreatown, a small corner of the city, that is home to lots of Korean immigrants. Property manager Michelle Kim has offered to show me round, and we're starting off with some street food. Thank you very much. Sorry, what was thank you in Korean?
네, 감사합니다.
감사합니다. So it's a waffle.
It's hot
Yeah,
inside.
yeah.
So
And the
you
red
should be
bean
careful.
paste?
Yeah, right. So you should be careful.
Oh my goodness.
You like it?
It's almost chocolatey.
Oh,
It's
right.
almost like chocolate, isn't it? I'm glad I've got Michelle showing me around. My Korean is very limited, and some of these English translations are not that helpful. Time for a coffee. But even the coffee shop is a bit different.
Coffee store named Black Milk Water.
Yeah.
You know what this means?
Black milk or with water. The different types of coffee you can have?
No. Black means coffee.
Okay.
Milk means milk.
Okay.
Water means tea. So
Ah.
Black Milk Water.
So coffee, milk, or tea.
Right, correct. So, but we call it just BMW. So we do not-
BMW. Coffee's in hand. Leslie takes me to the supermarket, where it's possible to buy almost anything Korean, including an amazing variety of tofus. I also get the chance to try something unusual, dekapon.
This is very, very special. Even
Okay.
in Korea, it's really expensive to get this.
It's like a hybrid between an orange and a grapefruit.
Right, right.
Isn't it?
right,
It's not sour like a grapefruit, but at the same time, it's not overly sweet like the orange. It's delicious.
Right, right.
Very, very nice. This being K-Town, there are some excellent Korean restaurants, including our next stop, Arisu, where the owner, Calvin Lee and Leslie Lassard of the local business association have promised to introduce me to Korean barbecue.
Welcome to my restaurant.
This is fantastic. What do we have here? I mean,
So typically, the Korean food is all about sharing, right? So you bring your family, your friends to the table, and you just come and enjoy the foods. So this is our traditional bibimbap, which it comes from a hot stone.
Right.
And there's a rice and top of assorted veggies and meats, and this is japchae, which is it's potato noodles.
Okay.
So it's stir-fried potato noodles with vegetables and beef. And that's a seafood pancake. It's one of these two are traditional in Korea.
Okay.
But we kind of had more thickness into the pancake to
Okay.
make it a little bit more westernized.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me, I mean, is this a standard kind of format in Korean restaurants? And would it be standard in Korean homes?
It's standard in Korean homes and Korean restaurants. It's called banchan, which it means side dishes
Right.
in Korean.
Okay.
So even if you order like one dishes or Korean barbecue, you get all the banchans in Korean restaurants. And if you get invited to Korean homes,
Right.
they'll have all sorts of banchans that they're special banchans.
Right.
Yeah, this is it's called kimchi,
Okay.
which is most popular Korean banchan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fermented napa cabbage.
Okay.
So we ferment that for like 2 to 3 days
Yep.
to make the spice a little down and the flavor comes up.
This all looks amazing. I can't wait to try everything. So what do you suggest first, Calvin? How do we do this?
So we'll try the seafood pancake.
Okay. That's totally not what I expected it to be like, based on what it looks very crispy and crunchy. And yes, it's got a very thin, delicate crisp to it, but it's delicious and succulent, and the seafood is all just built right the way through this. A little bit more piquant. Those noodles are tremendous. I love the texture. Very nice.
They're really good.
Yeah. The main dish is beef, and we're cooking it right at the table on this really neat built-in natural gas barbecue. Is it piano wire? It's almost
Yeah, it's,
very, very thin.
it's like a piano wire.
Yeah.
So, and you get to use this.
We get our
with
own
the-
tongs?
Yep.
Excellent. I always like my own tongs.
You're a master already.
I might have done this once or twice before on a bigger piece of equipment.
We can try the
Really?
beef.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we try? I think we should. I think we should try. Okay.
Okay.
So, in Korean, is there something you would say when you're eating? Like in French, it's bon appetit.
Uh-huh.
Is there a saying or something you would say in Korean?
You say 잘 먹겠습니다.
Okay, we have to go through that slowly. Chai mocha smita.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
good,
right. That's
okay.
good.
Okay, so here we go. We'll do this. Ladies, Calvin, chai mocha smita.
Okay.
Oh. I'm just going to leave that there for a moment. The ribs have been marinated in a fruit marinade made from apples and pears.
And Korean barbecue, like we have scissors on the table.
Yeah. Again, I think that's fantastic. That's incredible. That's wonderful.
So the purpose of the scissors is, of course, to cut the meats and evenly distribute to all of our friends and families. Right? So
I think everybody should eat like this. This is wonderful. So now do we get to eat it?
yes.
I can smell the pears and the apples in that marinade. Oh my goodness. I can honestly say that that is the finest short rib I have ever had. The flavors, I can taste the beef, but I also have this beautiful, soft, delicate fruit background for it. And the seasonings on there, it's just spectacular. It really is. We're slipping across the border to neighboring Port Moody to visit Brewers Row. Adam Crandall, co-founder of Moody Ales, explains.
So Brewers Row just kind of happened organically. So there's 4 breweries on Murray Street here in Port Moody. We're right across the street from Rocky Point Park. And yeah, it was, so Yellow Dog opened. We were a couple months later, almost exactly a year to the day, Twin Sails opened their doors. And then about 7 months later, Parkside Brewery opened. And it's been crazy. So it's only a 5-minute walk from here at Moody to Twin Sails, which is the furthest from us. But I usually say it's like the longest 5-minute walk you'll ever take. It's been great. Like on a Friday, Saturday night, there's about 800 seats between the 4 breweries.
Wow.
And there's usually a couple of food trucks. And like last night, there was live music at 3 of the spots, and there was people shacking oysters at a couple spots. And we also have so the BC Ale Trail launched a couple years ago, and we're one of the ale trails.
All that local competition certainly doesn't seem to have been bad for business. Moody Ales have just expanded, nearly doubling the size of their premises.
So that's our brew house, which is, you've got like our hot liquor tank, which is basically a big kettle.
Okay.
There's a natural gas burner or boiler in the back.
Okay.
That heats the water and keeps that thing full. It's like 5,000 liters. And our mash tuns, the mash tuns where the grain is steeped in the hot water, extracting all the sugars, and then it gets moved over into our kettle, which again is heated by that boiler. Right. And the hops and everything are added at that point. This system will produce, every time we put a brew through it, it's 2,400 liters. Okay. And our tanks are either 2,400, 4,800, or like 7,000 liters. So we're either doing 1, 2, or 3 brews at a given time to fill a tank. Our kind of core lineup, the stuff we have all year round, is approachable beers that you want to have every day. And then one thing that really sets us apart that you kind of have to come down here to experience is we have a small brewing system that just puts out about 2 kegs per brew instead of 2,000.
That really is microbrewing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very small, and it keeps our taps interesting, and there's always something new, but you'll only see those here.
Brewery Row is a new addition to the area, but just around the corner in Rocky Point Park is a lunchtime favorite.
We've been here since 1987.
Okay.
It was a long time.
So we're now at the 30-year mark.
Yeah, for sure. And at that time, this park was pretty well just a small family park. There weren't very many people around, and sometimes we would sit out here on lawn chairs waiting to watch for people coming into the park. But it took us about 10 years to build it up, and then a few years ago the city undertook a major undertaking to redo the park, and as you can see from out here, it's a beautiful park and attracts a lot of people. But I really like to think that Padgels was the beginning of this park becoming so successful.
Right. The growth in the local area has brought some other benefits.
Park was quite isolated, and there weren't any residential buildings down here at all, so we used propane for those first however many years, 25 years at least. Right. And so we got the opportunity that few years ago to switch to natural gas, and here we are today, and we're really happy about that. It's far better to be on natural gas.
Far easier, far more convenient, far more efficient. These days, people can find Pajo's Fish and Chips in several locations.
They can come here to Rocky Point Park.
Yep.
They can go to Steveston, which is our flagship store.
Okay.
We also have another Pajo's in Gary Point Park out in Steveston, just 5 minutes away.
Yep, okay, I know that one.
We also opened this year out at YVR, believe it or not, our first location away from a park or the water. Very exciting to investigate that potential.
So Pat, obviously Pajo's Fish and Chips. You must do a lot of fish. Where does the fish come from?
We use all West Coast wild caught fish, and that includes our halibut, our cod, and salmon that we offer. And we are 100% environment and sustainable according to the Ocean Wise program. Wonderful. And we're very happy to be a part of that program.
It's not just the fish which makes Pajo special. Both the batter and the tartar sauce are secret family recipes. I am really looking forward to trying them. Pat, this looks absolutely fun. And you know what I love is the fact that you've thought of everything, because we can bring our fish in our paper, but you've given me a tray that holds it up, and you've created a table, where I can sit my fish in without it falling over.
There you go.
Look at that tartar sauce.
And the verdict is in.
That fish, Pat, is absolutely spectacular. That batter,
crunchy.
beautiful and crunchy
that's
and light
the
and
idea.
delicate.
Yeah, that's the way we want it to be.
Fish and chips that is actually fish, and a little light coating of batter, and beautiful hand-cut fries. Pat, it's everything I remembered and more. To the west of Burnaby is Vancouver's downtown East Side district, home to my next stop, the Have Cafe, where I'm meeting up with Amber Anderson. So Amber, looking around, I mean, this looks like many other cafes across the city. What's different about Have Cafe?
We train people with barriers to employment, and then we get them employment. So they come in and we have a catering company and a cafe, and they work the lines and they do the jobs, and it's all hands-on, and we teach them how to do the jobs in other restaurants and then get them employment.
Okay. So this is open to the public? Anybody can come in?
Anyone, the more the merrier. Please come in.
What levels of training happen here?
There's 3 levels: professional cook 1, professional cook 2, and professional cook 3. And then they go on and apprentice. And once you get your apprenticeship done, then you get your Red Seal certification. You can take that anywhere. You can go anywhere if you're a journeyman now.
Over the past 10 years, they've successfully trained over 1,000 students, most of whom have gone on to satisfying jobs in the food service industry. Along the way, they've had to learn new ways of teaching.
We're not a traditional school in any means. Most of the students that come through here have learning disabilities or some, very little reading and writing. So we show them and teach them in different ways to get them to retain what they need to know.
Right.
If you think about getting 1,000 people into employment, even just a month, it costs about $55,000 for people on welfare in the city, and the police and the ambulances and everything like that. So now we've putting people through school, off of the streets, getting them into employment, and they are no longer on welfare or income assistance, and they are putting back in their community. They're buying from the stores. They've got an apartment. It's really come full blown.
Back in the kitchen, I'm planning to do some cooking with a little help from some students. So what I thought we'd do today is make up a burger, is essentially what we're doing, but we're going to use some of the things we've discovered on our tour this week. We've got some beautiful salmon, sockeye salmon. We're going to poach that in some of the Moody Ale's brown hardy ale.
Right.
And then of course we've got our prosciutto from Chioffi's. And then we're going to make a little tartar sauce in reference to Pajo's for their delicious fish and chips. And we're going to put a little bit of Korean influence in here, or Asian influence, with some 5-spice, some sesame oil, a few little chili flakes, and we're going to put a few noodles on there as well.
Nice.
Nice.
So are you ready to get started?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, Diane, if I can get you, what we want to do is turn this delicious prosciutto and just lay them flat on the baking sheet, because then we're going to pop them in the oven and crisp them up. Okay? Cliff, I'm going to get you to work on our salmon here. So we're going to cut this into 3 portions fairly evenly. Beautiful. This is coming up, it's simmering there, so now I'm going to turn that right down. Just so I've barely got a flame on the bottom.
All right. Very good.
Just give that a little sprinkle of chili flakes in the beer.
Into the beer.
That's fine. That's great. If we look into this and see any bubbles whatsoever, we're
turn
no
it down.
longer poaching.
Right.
We're either up to a simmer or worst case, we're up to a boil.
Right.
But that's doing exactly what we want it to do. So what we're gonna do with this, Cliff, I need a nice big fat scoop of mayonnaise, maybe 2 of those. That'll be fine. Yeah. And then we need a scoop of the green relish. Right. Now, in order to bring a little bit of Asian flavor into this, we're gonna add a little sesame oil just to give it a little bit of an Eastern flair. I've got a little bit of 5 spice, not too much because it's got a little bit of potency. And I think as well, we're gonna put a few, 1 or 2 little chili flakes in there.
Heck yeah.
I like a little bit of bite.
Why not?
So there's our tartar sauce ready. Diane's cutting open the ciabatta. All we're doing with these is we're gonna toast them on our grill.
Did you that?
Our fish here is now cooked. And then Cliff, if I can get you to give us a nice liberal splodge of our tartar sauce on there. We've got some lovely leaf lettuce here. If we can, that's it, we'll just sort of keep it nice and big and drop that on. That's beautiful. This is the unusual part of this dish. We're gonna put a few of these noodles in, and we don't need too many. It's just to give it a little bit of that sort of Asian flavor. And then of course the last thing that we want to put on there is our crispy bacon.
Nice.
Which of course was the prosciutto.
Yes. All right.
Okay, and 1, 2, 3. Diane, well done. Cliff, well done, my friend. For more great recipes, ask for the Flavors of the West Coast cookbook in your local bookstore.